Hello everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Harmeet Kaur Bharya and I'm in the process of writing a poetry book. It is soon to be published, but we're still some months away from the actual release date. So in the meantime, I'll be reading my poetry to you, some of which will be published in the book and some of which I've just recently written. So poetry is often down to a reader's interpretation, and one poem can mean so many different things to so many different people, and that's the thing that I really love about poetry. I love writing poetry, and I also love reading poetry written by other poets, particularly those that stem from personal experiences, etc. But how often is it that we really get to see inside the poet's mind, what's made them write those words? So I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote a few months ago, and then I'll go into what's behind the story, really, just so that you can see where it stems from. The poem that I'm going to read you is called The Panic, and it goes like this. When I look into the eyes of the innocent young, I reminisce over those sweet days before I was stung. In hindsight, those days, those months were so simple. It was more often than not that you would see my dimple. My innocence was stolen, and so was my youth. Ever since I have felt like I'm trapped in a booth. A whirlwind of emotions spin inside of me as the layers of life deepen like the rough sea. These thoughts are what make my senses stir. So when I step outside, the world appears as a blur. In a vicious circle, round and round it goes. Panic is here. I failed to fly or fight, so I froze. It's chaos here in my mind, body and soul. I'm falling down a distant, dark, damaging hole. My body is shaking and my mind is numb. I'm trapped and I don't know where to run. My soul guides me to a listening ear. To this professional, I let out my fear. A helping hand, the tools to fight, I receive. I learn that I cannot escape until I grieve. So whatever sorrow may come my way, I'm learning to be kinder to myself each day. So this poem is very personal to me. It does touch on various life experiences, really, from childhood. So I've been writing poetry since childhood, and this kind of talks about those days and how something that can happen to you at such a young age can affect your life when you're a lot older. So it's basically saying that you've had to grow up so quickly, and your innocence has basically been taken away from you. That's really what the words are saying, and just really touching on the depths of the anxiety that I've faced, and how that anxiety actually feels. And actually, we don't really realise that anxiety isn't something that you can just kind of wake up from and recover, in a day, overnight. It doesn't work like that. It builds up over a long time, and it takes just as much time to heal. So it's really about being kind to yourself and not beating yourself up, and letting yourself grieve, which is why I use those kinds of words. And you'll notice that my poetry actually rhymes, and a lot of my poems rhyme. And there's arguments here about the modern way of writing is kind of more free flow, and the rhyme is outdated. But I actually want to bring back the rhyme, because I think, to me, I've always grown up with rhyme in poetry, and I absolutely love the free flow and the modern way of writing. Um, Absolutely love it, and I've done some pieces like that myself, but absolutely love rhyme too. So I hope that this may have resonated with some of you out there that may be facing some of these difficulties, and it's really just about being kind to yourself, and don't beat yourself up over it. There's reasons why you feel what you feel, and you know feeling those things is part of the process, and actually acknowledging it, rather than just brushing it off or giving yourself a hard time about it. So I hope you enjoyed the first video, and there'll be a lot more to come. Thank you so much for listening.